Section 141 deals with leading question. But before going into depth what the Bare Act says, let us understand what is leading question. Any such question which suggests to the witness the answer which he is expected to make is known as a leading question. For example, it is relevant to tell to the court as to where a witness lives. The question to be asked to him should be, where do you live? But instead of the above question, if it is framed like this, do you live in such and such place? The witness will pick up the hint and simply answer yes. And this is a leading question. It puts the answer in the mouth of the witness, and all that he has to do is to throw it back. It leads the witness to answer in a very specific manner and also alters the witness version of the event. Now, I've divided this leading question into two parts, two heads basically, not allowed and allowed. But before going into this, I would like to discuss in detail the three terms, important terms used in this leading question. So first is examination in chief. So what is examination in chief? So as for now, examination in chief can be termed as a direct examination. It is the first examination after the witness has been sworn, that is to make a serious promise, or affirm, that is to support something strongly. Or we can say examination in chief is an opportunity given to the party by whom the witness is called to examine him in chief for the purpose of getting all the material facts within his knowledge, which tends to prove party's case. The next term is re-examination. Re-examination is a process of questioning one's own witness again after cross-examination by the opposing counsel. The third term is cross-examination. The examination of witness by the adverse party or the counsel be called as cross-examination. Now, leading question is divided into two parts, not allowed and allowed. Not allowed is dealt under section 142, which says examination in chief and re-examination is not allowed, with certain exceptions. Why they're not allowed? They are not allowed because if such questions were permitted in examination in chief, the lawyer questioning him, the lawyer questioning the witness would be able to construct through the mouth of the witness a story that suit his client, and maybe it would be dealt in acquittal of the accused. So that is the reason why it is not allowed. But there are three exceptions to section 142 where the court may permit, and these exceptions are: first, where they are not objected to by the opposite party; second, where the opposite party objects but the court overrules the objection; and third, where they deal with the matter of undisputed or introductory nature. Now moving to the another part of leading question that is allowed, section 143, where the cross-examination can ask leading questions. So leading question may always be asked in cross-examination, but wait, here are also exceptions to this section 143, which lead to not allowed. Leading questions to a material part of the witness evidence against the accused is not allowed because it offends fair trial as enshrined in Article 21. Second exception to section 143, mere suggestion in the cross-examination have no evidentiary value. And no leading question, thirdly, no leading question allowed where the facts already been proved or admitted. Now with this, I would like to focus on the case Varke Joseph versus State of Kerala. So here the Supreme Court held that the lawyer should not ask the question in such a manner that results in witness to answer in yes or no format. Also, such question hampers the accused from getting a fair trial and violates the provision of Article 21 enshrined in the Constitution of India. Another case related with leading question is Brinda versus R, where it was held that the court can determine whether a leading question should be permitted or not, and not the counsel. Leading questions can only be asked during the cross-examination of witness and only during the examination in chief and re-examination after the court's permission. With this, I would like to move on the next topic of my session, that is hostile witness. So basically, this term is not declared in any section, but section 154 of the Indian Evidence Act refers to as hostile witness. Let us see what section 154 says. Section 154 says that question by the party to his own witness. Coming to the definition part, where a witness makes a statement against the interest of the party who has called him, he is known as hostile witness. Or in a layman language, we can say कि जब कोई witness favorable statement नहीं देता है, किसी accused के favor में statement ना देके उसके against में statement दे दे, तो वहां पे वो witness hostile declare कर दिया जाता है. This makes it necessary that he should be cross-examined by the very party who has called him so as to demolish or destroy his stand. In the case of Satpal versus Delhi administration, the court said a hostile witness is described as one who's not desirous of telling the truth at the instance of the party calling him. So now, before moving on further, let's just understand the related terms, like who can be a witness. A person who is a major and of sound mind and attained the age of maturity can be a witness. If we talk about children, yes, children are considered, but no oath is required. If we talk about person with disabilities, yes, person with disabilities also may testify in a manner in which they communicate and otherwise testify relatable facts. And even a person of unsound mind may also testify, but only during the period he's declared sound. Now we'd like to draw the attention of my audience towards the evidentiary value of the statements of hostile witness. So as per the Indian laws that just because a person has turned hostile, that does not mean that the whole of his statement should be turned down. We can refer the case of state of UP versus Ramesh Prasad Misra and others. The court said that in this case, it is the law that the statements of the hostile witness to be taken as the evidence would not be totally rejected just because the person has moved away from his duty to speak the truth, or that he has not spoken in the favor of the prosecution. However, in such a case, the court can scrutinize the statement of the witness and can reject only that part of the statement which is inconsistent. So here we can conclude is that the consistent statement of a witness can be recorded as a evidence. Now let us understand what are the reasons. What are the reasons why people turn to be hostile? What are the reasons why people turn to be hostile if I talk about? So reasons are the absence of a witness prosecution, prolonged trials, easy bail of the rich accused, the absence of adequate facilities of the court to the witness, usage of money and power by the accused, threat by the accused, or other factors like fear of police or legal system, political fear, etc. Moving to the case laws, the first case law here is Best Bakery case. Best Bakery trial is one of the best examples that can be given regarding the miscarriage of justice. In this case, the powerful and the rich accused forced the witnesses to turn hostile. The witness failed to identify the accused, so the prosecution failed to prove that charges. Later, one of the witnesses who turned hostile accepted that she had turned hostile under the threat and fear for her life. Moving to the second case law, that is BMW hit and run case. In this case, a boy named Sanjeev Nanda was alleged to have run his BMW over sleeping pavement dwellers in Delhi. 3 people died on the spot and others received serious injuries. In this case, again, a large number of witnesses were brought by the powerful accused, and Manoj Malik, who was the lone survivor, told the court that he was hit by a truck, not by a car. The key witness, Hari Shankar, refused to identify the BMW, and another witness absconded. In fact, none of the witnesses supported the prosecution, and here the accused were acquitted. The accused was acquitted. Now with this, after reading all these topics, that is a leading question and hostile witness, I have drawn a nexus between a hostile witness and leading question. So in my opinion, hostile witness can also be termed as one of the exceptions of section 142, when they must not be asked. Because as it gives the examination in chief to examine his own witness and can also ask leading questions. But yes, we need to remember that this can be done only at the discretion of the court. With this,